Your English. What's up, guys? Happy Friday. February 5th. What in the Sam Hick? What was that? Sorry. Happy Friday. February 5th is the final Friday before the Super Bowl weekend. It kicks off. And we've got a big NBA slate on both FanDuel and DraftKings tonight. Yahoo, wherever you guys are playing at, your props, whatever you're doing. So I'm hoping throughout the duration of the stream we'll find some cool picks and plays, find some guys that will land on. There's already a lot of eyes on that Brooklyn-Toronto game, so that should be fun. But nonetheless, this just seems like a solid day to start dancing around the field of NBA research. So I am Gun, twitter.com/Gundacker, and I appreciate you guys hanging out with me live. We should have, I think I'll have a co-host. I think Raj is. Raj didn't warn me that he wouldn't be here, but either way, you know how we do. What's up, live chat? Crispy says, what's up, Gun? 240 points. Toronto versus Brooklyn says, stack this game, get the other value for win. Yeah, the first lineup I saw on the RunDFS.com NBA VIP Discord earlier looked like a full stack start of that one. And I think that's where a lot of people are leaning. What up, solid picks? Something about a chip in a chair. Chris Gray, Minnesota Timberwolves, and then added some Toronto Broncos. I do like that game as well. Great filibuster. Shadow Stefan. Quan, happy Friday to you guys. Yesterday, how we do last night? Last night, a smaller game. I feel like I went live and noise just started everywhere. Not you, but I'm just saying, we got trains, got cat food TV. I get it. I'm not mad. I'm just saying. I love you. I swear I go live and it's just like noise pollution everywhere for me right now. Yesterday, 5 games on the docket. LeBron James ended up being the Slate leading scorer, 61. That's not a stunner. Kelly Oubre, though, ended up being one of the highest owned players on FanDuel. The way FanDuel's pricing was set up yesterday, there was just cliffs. You went high or you went mid-low. There was like no real 7, 8K, 9K options. So Kelly Oubre was about 50% owned in most of the contests I was in. And of course he had a career night. I was probably 45% on him. So I wasn't that far from the field. 40 real points from Oubre. I've probably been saying it all year. One of these days he's going to hit these shots that he's not hitting. And it happened to be yesterday. Joel Embiid, weird game from him. So before that game tipped off, we got news Ben Simmons would be out. So all eyes went to Joel Embiid against the G League Portland Trail Blazers. And it just seemed like a lock. So Embiid starts the game off and leaves the game with an injury, goes to the locker room. And we're like, oh, well, it's one of those nights. Embiid's out of there. Well, Embiid comes back. He drops, I think, 25 real points in the second quarter, ended with 37 real points, and somehow was a terrible play for fantasy. 46 DKP and 10.2K. Ironically enough, the Portland Trail Blazers, without Dame Lillard, without Yusuf Nurkic, without CJ McCollum, blow out the Philadelphia 76ers at home. So what a weird backwards land game that ended up being. But Joel Embiid, for all intents and purposes, was the third highest scoring fantasy player on the slate. And that's one of those I talk about all the time. Like sometimes you just overpay for the raw fantasy points because not every slate is going to be 400, 500 the first. And I think you probably could have got to the dance on DraftKings with a little Embiid. I do think on FanDuel, Cantor ended up being more prevalent because it was just a 5 fantasy point difference for about 3K difference. And that salary went a long way. Draymond was pretty trendy, dropped 40. Steph, trendy, only dropped 40. But again, on this slate, maybe that 40 got you to the dance. And it helped me out on on FanDuel quite a bit. So really weird slate, really weird low scoring slate. Several 40s, but not a slate full of like 70s and stuff like that. So is what it is. Today, probably going to be a little bit more of the atypical 400 fantasy point to first type of lineup night. But, hey, those are the cards we're dealt. We're going to have to play them as such. What up, Giuliano? You called Draymond and Kelly yesterday. Kelly, Draymond wasn't like, I didn't feel like I was a sneaky person, but I felt like if there was a day, yesterday, Draymond's minutes were going to have to be super long, and the matchup was fine. I thought he had a chance at a double-double, but I thought it would have been with rebounds. He double-double with assists. 15 assists, 11 points. And it was ironic because we were talking prop bets in the voice chat yesterday, and somebody mentioned that there's a Draymond no double-double bet. And I was like, man, I tell you what, I think today that bet is as risky as ever, but I thought it would be via rebounds because the Mavericks had been super porous when it came to rebounding. Juan Toscano-Anderson only 8 rebounds himself. So, weird game. What are you going to do? Let's bring on the Rajanator. And...
Yo.
How we doing?
Back in the building.
We are.
Last night wasn't so fun on DraftKings. I feel like I had a little too on DK. FanDuel was good, but DK was a little too much. Moran and Wall.
DK, who was it? Was it Rondo on DK? It was just
yeah, Rondo kind of fell flat, just kind of whatever.
And then like we said, that Sixers game went so backwards. So backwards. You know what's funny is I played some Harry Giles thinking he'd get some blowout run. And then I was like, okay, well, it's a blowout anyway, but he didn't really get the blowout run. 14 minutes. Still a point per minute type of guy. Anthony Simons came out that he was going to be on the 20 minutes limit, so I didn't need to go there. I pretty much landed Melo as a tier 1 on FanDuel. Him and Oubre were a really nice combo. You really couldn't have gone wrong if you went Melo, LeBron, or Oubre, LeBron. Obviously,
why was Oubre chalk on FanDuel? I just didn't get it. Because he was literally 28 or 30.
He's so you just got priced into it. Like there was just a cliff. You either play LeBron or it's just like a bunch of 5K players, and you just go get the 30 minutes.
I mean, Carmelo came through too.
Yeah, no, Melo was fine as well. That's what I'm saying. But the FanDuel made some awkward plays into high owned plays, and sometimes it'd be like that where. Usually a full slate, you're gonna get guys at each price range, 3 to 4 or 5 K, 4.5 to 6K players, 6 to 8K players, 8 to 10K players. Last night you didn't have that. You had LeBron and everyone else. So those deep cliffs just made some weird names pretty high owned. What are you gonna do? It's a Bauer. Yeah, Trevor Bauer. I swear last night there was all this hoopla that he signed with the Mets, and then Bauer's agent was like, no. And now it just came out Trevor Bauer's with the Dodgers.
Jesus.
So the Dodgers got Army guns just to lose to the Yankees in October. That's a cotton pick.
I mean, their pitching staff strong.
It is strong. It reminds me of like the NL East, where I thought that the Nats, the Mets, the Braves, I thought that league was stacked. The NL West with the Dodgers and the Padres going at it, man. We might get 200 win teams, and one of them is gonna have to be like a wild card.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. They're in the same division. That is,
and on that same thought, like the Rockies, after trading Arenado, Rockies might be like a 30-win team, and the freaking D-backs are just trekking behind. So Dodgers got some Army guns. They're looking to double dip. But hey, Garrett Cole, Luis Severino, Jameson Taillon.
Domingo like a Dodger dynasty in the making, though. Looking like a Dodger dynasty in the making. They might have the next 3 or 4 chips.
They should be in the mix every year, in the National League Championship every year. They should be in the pennant, but it is what it is. Yeah. It is what it is. They're a super team, and like in baseball, it's not becoming like no one's complaining about that unless it's the Yankees buying championship.
It's hard to be a super team in baseball because you have to rely on so many players.
No, that's a super team. If there's ever a super team in baseball history, the
are they
effing
really
Dodgers.
a super team?
What? Yes, they're so. There's what the big red machine, Cincinnati Reds. That was like a super team. But this is a super team. Like
It's a good team. I just think of baseball, a super team. Like even their lineup. I mean, what their 6, 7, 8, and 9 batters aren't super. They're fine.
It's a super team. Shut up. Super team.
I think baseball's hard to
Super
have
team. It's a super team. They're buying a championship. It's not homegrown like the New York Yankees. It doesn't count. Anyway,
they're both doing the same thing. They got a mix of homegrown talent, Judge, Bellinger, and then sign some guys too. But shout out to the Jays. I think could shock some people this year.
No, they won't. Key news to watch from Fantasy Labs, 3 p.m. tweet. Jaylen Brown questionable. Colin Sexton questionable. Terry Rozier's probable. D. Russ questionable. Goran Dragic probable. Anything else that came out? Bogdan's without a timetable. Christian Wood went down last night. I'm sure the Rockets probably play tomorrow. I'm sure that's going to create another opportunity for DeMarcus Cousins to be a lock button, but maybe the sites get out in front of that and price them a little bit better than they have had in months past. So we'll see that.
It's a quiet news day today for a 9-gamer.
Knock on wood. Chat. Told y'all Rondo was booty. 1-player victory lap. Yeah, Rondo was booty. Yeah. Giuliano says, is Kemba a lock tonight? At 5,700. Look at that fire emote using the Gundacker Gaming Channel VIP emotes, man. Shout out to you. What up, Dang Lazy Mofo? Yo, Dang Lazy Mofo, man. You got to reach out to me somehow. Either Twitter or Discord or something. Reach out to me. How haven't they ran out of money yet? The Dodgers? Yeah, I don't know how they're doing it.
They got deep pockets.
They do. Josh, being excited about the tie-in wasn't even the ace of the Pirates. So the thing with the Pirates, Josh, it's okay to poo-poo anyone now, but the Pirates are the worst organization in all of baseball. They're a joke. And everybody they trade away just becomes the greatest. Tyler Glasnow, Garrett Cole, it wasn't Charlie Morton over there. Like, they just don't know how to manage their players. And I think Garrett Cole had high things to say about Jameson Taillon. Taillon has hyped up some of the differences in his pitching delivery, and Taillon was fine as it is. So put him in a better organization. I think he'll shock.
I mean, he was that guy. Whenever he was 7K, we'd kind of play him as SB2, and he'd have big games. So he gets a couple things right and gets that consistent.
I love the irony of a Yankee fan. About buying championships. Hey, Yankees are under the luxury tax. Hold up.
It is a different era. Like that Yankee spending a ton of money doesn't happen.
No, we're still the highest payroll in baseball, but we're under the luxury tag. It's just a lot of it is like
the difference isn't as huge. I feel like in the early 2000s and stuff, it was massive.
It's Garrett Cole and Stanton that's like half of our effing salary right now. Anyway, baseball is fun. Random question: how'd you get the name Gun? I get that question a lot. Twitter too. People are like, "Hey, how'd you come up with the name Gundagger?" And here is the story. On February 19th, 1988, I was born. That's it. That's my real name, guys.
Name, guy. I thought it was a gamer name, too. It's such a Call of Duty gamer name. And then, it has his background, German. It's like German, like Hongdacker or Hondacker.
No, it's really Gundackers.
No, that's not how Germans talk. Not in the Civil War movies that I see. Or, the Holocaust movies I see. German guys are always like, Hakri, Hakra, Hoshol. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have a little, like, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a real name, and I kind of stick with it. So we're not hiding behind aliases here. We're putting out the flames via the real name. Anyway, what do you say, chat? We talk a little basketball. We talk about some of the games on the docket tonight, and we try and find some plays for FanDuel and DraftKings, and hopefully make a little scratch. Before I do that, just a reminder, I kept those discounted prices at the RunDFS.com VIP section up. So if you guys want to jump in that Discord and all that good stuff, get access to the spreadsheet, support stream, support site, support me, go to RunDFS.com, make yourself an account. Week passes are at 25, 2 week passes 45, and the month pass usually 100 down to 80. And there's no All-Star break in the middle of February now. So if you guys are worried about, that messing up the value of your subscription, it's not. And then every year, I always look out for the All-Star break anyway. We have NBA coverage. We'll have NASCAR really, really soon. The NASCAR pricing and all that's already up, so that's going to be fun. And then we have a Super Bowl this weekend. We'll just have some fun with that. Outside of that, we'll probably have Super Bowl squares. For those of you on Twitter, I've already had like 3 tweets asking about that. Looking for $5 squares, so 100 squares to fill up, and we'll just have some side action fun with that as well. Game number 1 tonight, the New Orleans Pelicans at the Indiana Pacers. Project starting 5 for the Pelicans: Lonzo Ball, Eric Bledsoe, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, and Stone Cold Steven Adams. It's going to get one board. What? Taking on Malcolm Brogdon, Jeremy Lamb, Justin Holiday, Domantas Sabonis, and Miles Turner. We got a 228 total, 1-point spread in favor of the Indiana Pacers. Raj, I think I alluded to it earlier. The foreshadow knee-jerk reaction to this slate is how much Raptors and Brooklyn Nets could I get in my lineup, and what do I do with the rest of the games? I'm kind of the backwards devil's advocate guy. I think this game offers some pieces here. Malcolm Brogdon at 8K on the nose, 7.8 on FanDuel seems a little bit too cheap for the minutes and responsibility and usage that he has. And then Domantas Sabonis at 8,600. This guy crushed value on the wrong side of a blowout against the 76ers. This is one of my favorite handcuffs in all of basketball. Can I spend $16,600 DraftKings dollars and get 100 fantasy points out of these two? I think I can. If I go to the team metrics tab and run DFS.com NBA VIP spreadsheet, the New Orleans Pelicans, for what it's worth, still a bottom 10 defense in all of basketball. They're playing tight basketball, a net rating of minus 1.7, so their games are staying within a bucket. The pace isn't anything crazy, but I think the minutes, the usage, and the soft matchup for Brogdon and Sabonis will have those guys as two of my favorite players on the slate, and I love the handcuff correlation there. I don't mind a couple of errant shots at like a Lamb. Turner's a guy at 6,300 I think could surprise people. I don't like the matchup by any stretch of the imagination, but he comes through here and there with some extra blocks and maybe gets himself 6 to 8 rebounds and double-digit points, sure. But Sabonis and Brogdon are just screaming at me, play me, and then can I run it back with some Zion, some Ingram, somebody like that? Sure, I don't mind that. I do like the price discrepancy between Lonzo Ball on FanDuel and Lonzo Ball on DraftKings, 5,900 versus 6,800. If he can point per minute his way at 5,900, I think he can give me a solid 25, 35 fantasy point window. Other than that, Zion's kind of the guy here for me to lead my interest on the Pelicans. And then right behind that, Brandon Ingram. But those are not like tier 2, tier 1 aspirations for me. But Brogdon and Sabonis are standing out. What's tickling you pink from this game?
So Sabonis is going to be a tier 1 kind of lock play for me today. Gotta love it. Like I said, he smashed last game in what seems like 3.5 quarters, 3 quarters. This should be a close game. I think it's another great spot for him at his price on 8K on DraftKings, 8.8 on FanDuel. On both sides, good to go. Brogdon, price is great. I like it. Not as high on him as Sabonis. I like Sabonis more. I don't know the last time that they both kind of had tournament-winning upside games together at the same time. Seems like Sabonis has been having a few lately. Before that with Brogdon, so I don't know if they correlate as much as we'd like to think.
I think they do.
If they both can get me like on DraftKings, I want both of them to get like 45 to 50 plus.
If you got this game staying close, like the last 2 games from Brogdon, 29 minutes in a blowout, if it stays competitive, we're getting 36, 38. So, like I said, if I can get 40 plus from Brogdon and 50 plus from Sabonis, there's a world in a competitive game where they score 100 plus fantasy points.
I'm with it. I do think I like Sabonis more, but Brogdon tier 2, tier 3.
I'm always gonna have the big over the guard, but yeah, I like the. I think the correlation is stronger than you just gave it credit for.
Gotcha. And then I guess on New Orleans side, again, when Lonzo Ball is playing, and I just don't play a lot of Brandon Ingram. His upside's just a little limited. I think if you have some of him, I don't hate it. Escape stays close. He should lead this team in scoring. If he if he gets the peripherals, should get there. When it comes to Lonzo, his price is getting up there. Could have a big game here. Kind of respect Malcolm Brogdon defense. It might just be a little Inger for me, and like just if Lonzo or Eric if Eric Bledsoe just kind of fit in there because of pricing, I don't hate getting there.
Indiana. Where's the red at in their chart for DVP? Indiana. Control FIND. There we go. So small forward, power forward. So power forward has been their weakest point of attack, and Zion Williamson, he plays power forward. So I like that run back even more so. Chat, anything particular from this game you like? If not, we'll keep it moving. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. 2 weeks until players report. What's up, Nick Creasy? Yeah, when they had, I guess they got a phone call from the White House, the baseball players union did, and they were talking about delaying the season. I was like, oh God, no, please no. I need my baseball. I need it. And then I was just like, every other sport's playing right now. Baseball will be
right. Why delay it?
Like baseball is like the most social distance sport in existence. Yeah. But yeah, it looks like they're on the way to go, and then pitchers have already been working out, and we're good. Jeff B. Fournier or Thad Young on DraftKings. I'll probably be on Thad.
Thad Young's been killing it.
We'll discuss that in just a second. All right, let's move on to that game. Chicago Bulls at the Orlando Magic. Project starting five for the Bulls. Kobe White, Zach LaVine, Patrick Williams, Larry Markkinen, Daniel Gafford taking on Cole Anthony, Evan Fournier, James Ennis III, Gary Clark, and Nikola Vucevic, the cover boy. 8,500 for Vucci Gang. He spent 10 racks on a new chain. I'm playing him here. 224.5 total. Chicago Bulls without Wendell Carter Jr. Is that what you want? Yeah. If we look at the last couple of centers against the Bulls here, let me pull up Vucevic. Mitchell Robinson had a pair of games, but he's still about a point per minute. He doesn't really count as somebody that's going to even compare to Vucevic in terms of usage and production. Enes Kanter, 37.75 DKP in 34 minutes. And then they played like the Lakers and the Boston. So Tristan Thompson and Marc Gasol. So this is a prime example of putting some context to DVP. Vucevic is preceded by some weaker opponents. But when we look at the Chicago Bulls, we know their defensive rate is going to go down. And Vucevic, without Aaron Gordon in the lineup, they're still without Markelle Fultz. They'll be without Markelle Fultz for the rest of the year, likely. Vucevic is just in a super smash spot where this could be one of those 50-plus fantasy point games. And at 8,500, I like that potential upside. Last game without Gordon, 37 minutes against the Raptors, 50-plus fantasy points. I mean, that's just Vucevic's potential here, so I'm with it. Vucevic will be one of my favorite players on DraftKings. Somebody asked about Evan Fournier. I think Evan Fournier is somebody that feels a little bit better on DraftKings at 6,200, rewards some of that three-point bonus, but the Chicago Bulls are one of the best matchups in all of basketball. They own a bottom five defensive efficiency in basketball, so you really can't go wrong with anyone that you think would assume above 20, really 25% plus usage like a Fournier and Vuce without Aaron Gordon. You might keep an eye on Frank Mason. He did get picked up, signed. Looks like he'll be ready to go here. Maybe that's enough to like give Cole Anthony a glass ceiling in minutes, or maybe that's just their backup plan. They've been without MCW. They were leaning on Gordon for some ball handling, so maybe there's nothing to it, just some more depth for them. But Cole Anthony at 5K on FanDuel, I think that's a chip in a chair, number one, for 30 fantasy points. And I don't even think you're crazy. Like maybe at the end of the day when we got like a Nets Raptors 240-plus game or whatever, but in and of itself, if you just look at isolate this game, there's a range of outcomes where Cole Anthony, Evan Fournier, and Vucevic all get there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Vuce is a tier 1 for me.
Uh-huh.
I'm probably gonna start a lot of lives with Vuce, Sabonis. We'll get to the OKC guys too, some value. So give me those two in 60% of my lineups. I'm with it. You mentioned Fournier, you mentioned Cole Anthony. I mean, that's his team. It's those three and a bunch of scrubs, it seems like. So they got all the usage. Chicago doesn't play a ton of defense. All three of these guys, especially the price, like Cole Anthony, 5K on FanDuel, he can get there for you. Fournier, 6-7. I mean, not a comfortable price, but he can definitely get there for you. Give you 20 real-life points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds. Give me some of that. On the Chicago side, I mean, Thaddeus Young has been coming, just been coming through every single slate. He's getting priced up now, so it seems like you need the 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and like 18 real-life points. So he needs to have that game. He's been pretty consistent. Tough to play on FanDuel. On DK, I'll probably have more of him. other than him, I mean, is his kind of I don't want to say resurgence, what the case is it holding back some peripherals from Zach LaVine and Kobe White?
Who's that young?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's I mean, Zach LaVine's been fine. I mean, last game, real life game, 24 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists. Could do something like that again, sure. I think it'll be tough to get to like a LaVine. I think everyone's going to click on the Toronto, Brooklyn guys and some other studs. But I think get to Orlando, this game's probably going to stay close. Don't hate it. Kobe White has a lot of upside, though. At 5'8" on FanDuel, at his price, he definitely has some upside. So if you want to take a tournament hit on Kobe White, I don't hate it.
Let's have a conversation. What is Larry Markkinen somebody that we're sleeping on?
I think
40 plus in 2 of his last 3. That last game was not what you want.
I know he's playing well. It's just I just think a lot of my power forward slot will be filled with like Bazley and Sabonis. It's on FanDuel, so a little hard to get to there. But I mean, again, tournament 6'5", he's shown the upside. It's Orlando. He's going to see what is it, Kem Burge or Gary Clark defense. I'm with it.
Yeah, I kind of think the same thing. Zach LaVine's getting a little bit back towards where I can be curious at playing him at 8,400. I think he was playing 9K level production, and we were playing him at will 7.8 to 8,500, whatever. And then when he got to 9K, it became a little bit more volatile. I don't really think like the production or anything like that was that staggered. Yeah, there was a stretch where all the guards were outside of Arinsky and whatnot. But I still think if you just slap 35 minutes and Zach LaVine on there, I'll take some chances. The Chicago Bulls are giving up almost 9 steals a game. Evan Fournier, Vucevic, and Terrence Ross all averaging over a steal per game. Maybe they can build on that. Maybe this is one of those sneaky Terrence Ross games at under 5K on both sites. And maybe, now that he has I guess Frank Mason's going to be more of a true point guard off that second unit. I don't know. Maybe some shots would be created for him, but I still think he's worth. Apparently I can only say my phrase 3 times. So I've already said it once, so I'm not going to say it twice in the same. Maybe we get a puncher's chance here. But Thad Young. So Thad Young was moved to the center spot on FanDuel last slate, and he's still there. I love what he's been doing. Don't get me wrong, but I might be out. I think I just go look how much competition he has at the center spot between Vucevic, who we are gonna absolutely love, Drummond 7,500. I don't think that's a fantastic spot against Milwaukee, but man, is that a cheap price? I guess there's still a case here. There's not as much depth at the center spot as I thought there was going to be. Cat's out. Vooch is the top guy. Ayton against Detroit. Maybe we still get to some Thad Young here at 6'6". Think Thad can get to 35 fantasy points. That's what he's done in over 4 straight. Okay. Yeah. 5 steals last game, by the way. That's
what he does. I mean, he just fills the stat sheet doing everything.
6 stocks. A little bit on the fake side. A little bit. But, yeah, he has been getting there by hook or by crook. So, is what it is. Let's move on to the next game here. Milwaukee Bucks at the Cleveland Cavaliers. Project starting 5 for the Bucks. Drew Holiday, Dante DiVincenzo, Chris Middleton, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Brook Lopez taking on Darius Garland, Colin Sexton, Isaac Okoro, Taron Prince, and Andre the Giant Drummond. We got a 227 total, 10.5 point spread in favor of the Milwaukee Bucks. Larry Nance Jr. out, and Colin Sexton has a Q tag on him. And I believe the most recent tweet there from Labs corroborated the questionableness. Looking at a blurb from Roto World, says this is a new injury, which is a neck strain. It was first reported on Thursday night. On Wednesday, he scored 27 points, 5 assists, blah, 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 blah. If he can't play, Darius Garland would take on a bigger role, and Dylan Windler could see more minutes. Windler played 20 minutes on Wednesday, scored 4 points. All right, so a neck strain for Colin Sexton could leave some questionable. I don't really believe if he's in or out, I would have a much to say about anything in terms of interest on any of these Cavs guards or anything like that. Sure, you can make a long shot case for like a Garland. Drummond's the interesting name here. I don't really think this is a matchup that favors him in terms of like adding to his stocks, like his blocks and whatnot. You could make a case that the pace is going to be fast enough, long enough at 7,500 that he gets 15 plus rebounds. But man, we just know Drummond is more talented than this individual price point. So my heart is just like, do I really like? Do I need to spend a second in analyzing this? So let's go Andre Drummond DKP by game log versus Bucks. Let's go last 10 games just to see if there's any surprise success against Brook Lopez. 63, 58, 42, 49. I would take all four of those at this price point. He played 41 minutes against the Milwaukee Bucks.
No Giannis that game.
In January, and that was before Jared Allen and everybody. So. Yeah. If we move that to 35 minutes, I don't know, man. This could be a 40 plus.
Overtime that game? I don't see him play more than 25 minutes.
Right, and that's the thing. Like they've added to the front court with Jared Allen.
I guess Larry Nance out.
Yeah, I got him at 28 minutes. It's spitting back 43, 42 fantasy points. So I would say that's what I need, right? So if I decide to fade that because I feel like maybe that's the glass ceiling. It's a blowout anyway. I've been saying it. Drummond is their rental. There's no reason to push him more than anyone that's in the market for an Andre Drummond right now knows who Andre Drummond is, and I don't think his value goes up or down. So now it's just a matter of just keeping him fresh and ready to be sold. So I think I stay away, just hoping this game blows out. I guess if Sexton's out, it's more likely to blow out, but at the same time, Drummond's usage would go up. I don't know. I'm probably just Xing out Cavs. What do you do with Giannis and Middleton? Middleton has been 40 more than he's not, and Giannis has led a lot of slates.
I think you play Giannis. I think he gets there in 3 quarters. This game most likely blows out. Could be the highest one on the slate. So at 10-8, I'm gonna have some of him. And like you said, don't love this game because I think it's gonna be a blowout. So. I'm probably going to scratch all the Cavs too, but give me some Giannis. I've just seen so many times where we don't play Giannis and it's a blowout, and he still ends up the highest score on the slate.
So I would say there's 2 players on this slate on DraftKings that are over 10K, and it's James Harden and it's Giannis Antetokounmpo. And it just seems like you'll be satisfied with a lot of your 7 to 9K 4-man rosters. So I could see Giannis not being an issue, but at the same time, Giannis is the other than Harden, one of the only guys to really pay up for. So I can see both sides of that argument. I think if he scores 65 or less, you can make up some ground with some of these other guys that are underpriced, like a Vucevic. Basically, any AK guys that are going to drop over 50, I think we can make up the difference. But man, he's been so good. Anyone else other than Giannis and Middleton? I think Brook Lopez is really cheap. I feel like there's a game coming for him. The Cavs, ironically, do allow a lot of blocks per game, over 6 per game. We've seen Brook Lopez go fake with blocks historically. He's averaging 1.5 blocks per game this season. He's actually averaging more blocks per game than Andre Drummond. And I think a lot of people forget that that's part of Brook Lopez's game. So maybe he stunned some people at 5-1 with a 30-plus fantasy point performance, but there's nothing really here that I got to stretch out for Tier 1. If you knew right now that Colin Sexton is out, does that do anything for you? No. Okay. No. Chat, what are you doing with this one? Asano, the minutes are the main concern for Drummond. Yeah. DraftKings did such a poor job with OKC. They're too kind. I'm taking 4th under him with that. Darius McCray. Jared Allen. You like some Allen? 6-1 on DraftKings. I do like the price on DK. 7-4 on FanDuel. I probably don't push it. But a fast-paced matchup for Allen probably gets run regardless. Sure, I could see a case for that. Watch when Drummond has 45 fantasy points at half. Not likely, but possible. Definitely possible. If Sexton was out, does that throw Drummond to the moon? Just out of curiosity. But for what it's worth, the Bucks have been pretty strong. They are giving up 47 points in the paint per game, but that's just also a product of how their pace goes. So the faster the pace, the more possessions and points in the paint doesn't tell the whole story there. So they might be giving up 47 points in the paint, but compared to per 100 possessions, that may not be that bad. They are giving up a lot of points via the three ball. And if Sexton's out, we just be looking at what, Darius Garland to chuck some threes.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. Who's the 3-point shooter for the Cavs? I think it's going to be our guards here. How does Garland do at chucking threes? 1-4. He doesn't really chuck it with the high volume. And then Colin Sexton's likely the guy here for. They don't really chuck a lot of threes. How many points are they scoring? The Cavs score 28 points via the three ball per game. That's got to be, if not the lowest, amongst the lowest per game. That is the lowest in the league. 28 points. That's right below the Knicks. So nobody. The answer is nobody. Who chucks threes for the Cavs? Nobody. And that's a problem. That is a big problem against the Bucks team. So this 10-point spread might be generous. Yesterday cost myself $1K extra in profit by forgetting to switch Richardson for Carmelo, my $100 single entry. Ouch. Still profited $360. Could have been $1360. Dang, Paul. That's tough. Hey, profit's profit, but yeah, those mistakes, they stick with you. Gun, do you like BP? Bobby Portis? Yeah, so putting this game as a potential blowout is a boost for him as well. But Bobby Portis was really nice to me in that last game. You talk about fantasy efficiency. I had 20-plus fantasy points from Bobby Portis in the first half against Indiana last game. He played 17 total minutes and got 40-plus fantasy points, by the way. It's just insane. 4 stocks. This should be a matchup he should be able to bully ball. I think at 5-4 on DraftKings, we're looking for the north side of 30. Maybe it becomes a little bit of a risk because even in a blowout, he didn't get the run. He's kind of their sixth man. But I still think if you put 20 to 25 minutes of his production against a porous team like the Cavs defensively, no, I mean, I'd be a buyer. He's 6'2" on FanDuel. I'm probably a little bit more interested on DraftKings, but these would be tournament shots. So yeah. Garland love, not especially. I think you could make a case at 5'8", but I just think there's a lot of options today at that 5-6K range for point guard that I wouldn't really push the issue. I almost would I rather have Cole Anthony than Darius Garland today? I think yes.
Yeah, easy.
Okay. Maybe Jetty. Yeah, it sounds like a blowout. It should absolutely be a blowout. It should absolutely be a blowout, but we'll see. Paul Keys says Damian Dotson and Windler are 3-point shooters. Yeah, if they get the run, they get the opportunity. But I can't go that deep here. Like if I end up with Damian Dotson and Dylan Windler here, what am I doing? I guess if Colin Sexton's out, I could justify it, but as it stands right now, oh man, what do I even have them for minute? Dotson and Dylan Windler. I have Dotson for 11, Windler for 13. I couldn't do it. Any Bryn Forbes at 3,200? Do we need to get this creative though, Jeff? Bryn Forbes 3,200. I feel like we're gonna have ample amounts of value, and there's not a ton of 11, 10K guys. So
you don't need to get that cute.
Probably not for me, Jeff. Probably not for me. But if you got that feeling in your bad knee, go for it. Biggest game on the slate here, total-wise, 240 total, 5.5 points spread in favor of the Brooklyn Nets. I would say the most star-studded, appealing game of the slate. Project starting 5 for the Raptors: Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet, Norman Powell, Pascal Siakam, Aaron Baines taking on Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Joe Harris, Kevin Durant, and DeAndre Jordan. We got a 240 total, 5.5 point spread in favor of the home team, Brooklyn Nets. This game should be up in pace. It should be down in defense. The Brooklyn Nets defensive efficiency becoming bottom 5 in all of basketball as expected, and the Raptors defensive efficiency, we're not used to seeing it this bad, but it's not great. Losing Ibaka, Kawhi over the years, it has caught up to them, and they are league average at best in defensive rating. So they're not quite the lockdown guys they were when they had the Gasols and Ibakas and Kawhi. So plenty of fantasy juice to go around here. I think Fred VanVleet is going to be the apple of a lot of eyes. He's upgraded, he's promoted, he's graduated to 9K on FanDuel, but he's still under 8K on DraftKings. Should likely lead the entire team in minutes played today. Is VanVleet the first Raptor you look at after a historic game against the Orlando Magic where he had 54 real points? Is this your number one Raptor play of the day?
I mean, him or Lowry, I think it's a bit of a coin flip. I think going to Lowry after VanVleet's big game.
You think that's a coin? That's not a coin flip. Stop. That can't be a coin flip. What? Lowry.
Okay, just because VanVleet had a career game, Lowry had a big game last game too.
I mean,
I would take Lowry if the ownership difference is so much, I would take Lowry.
Okay. All right.
They're fine. Siakam, I think Siakam might. I mean, they're all in great spots. Siakam's in play too, so I mean, Lowry, VanVleet, Siakam, kind of Raptors big three, all in play. They are priced up, so you definitely need them to get there. Brooklyn side, I mean, I think I'd probably rank Harden 1, coming out back-to-back triple doubles.
Yeah.
Just a point guard, so he's going to get those peripherals. And then I'll probably go, I mean, KD and Kyrie. Seems like a coin flip too. They're both kind of similar. How I would decide between them again, I don't think there's any real metric. So I think you got to have all three of them in the pool, but I'd probably have a little more Harden than those two.
10.6K for Harden. We're taking 50-plus fantasy points. I could have a softer expectation for 10K plus today because I do think there's going to be a lot of people that I think are underpriced today. So if you just thought that there's a solid floor there now with Harden, go for it. Definitely has been a lot to be made of his assist rate this season, 11.2 assists per game. And that's given him a pretty strong floor and making him a positive correlation handcuff-wise to both Kyrie and or KD. Not likely that you're going to play all three and be satisfied, right? It doesn't seem like a common or median range outcome. On the Raptors side, is there any Siakam in your future at 7.6K? Looking like if there was anybody to draw the toughest matchup on the Nets, and that would be KD. There's not a lot of tough matchups here, but if there's anybody to draw the most KD, is Siakam, right? Siakam, your lowest owned Raptor?
Yeah, he's probably my lowest owned guy. But I mean, KD's defense hasn't exactly been elite this year.
Right,
so
right, yeah. Team defense is everything. Yeah. And then Norman Powell, man, he just keeps kind of doing it whenever he gets minutes played. He's not like the same guy as OG Anunoby, and that's like it's kind of staggering how he's been able to succeed in different ways as Anunoby. But 29, 41, 40 minutes, 37 minutes, like the minutes are there and they're deep for him.
20 plus real life points in 6 straight games.
Yeah, that's incredible actually. That's actually really incredible. I wonder what his point prop is today. Yeah, 20. If we get 20 plus real points and a couple peripherals here, the steals can come too. He's got 4 steals in that Magic game at 6.7K. So that's like a 7K player.
I think he's a great tournament player. No one's gonna click on that name with that price tag.
Yeah. My projections weren't in love with him at this price, but yeah.
Yeah. Points per dollar. I mean, 20 real life points he's at, in 5 straight games. Maybe he hits 30 against Brooklyn. I mean, I actually really like him in tournaments. So why can't he hit 30 real life points here?
Who's Powell? I guess so.
He has 23 real life points with VanVleet going for 50 plus.
Yeah, I guess so. The pace on this one definitely. I can see it. Chat, what are you guys doing with this one? Chronic says Lowry's assist prop is 6.5. Lock button on that one. Okay, little prop discussion going on. Paul's kind of with you. 50% Lowry, 50% VanVleet. How much of that overlap? Because it does look like there's at least a world where it can coincide. Maybe a 15% overlap. Maybe. I guess it's a 2v2 of like Lowry and VanVleet versus Brogdon and Sabonis. You're going. Ooh, that's nice.
That is nice.
What's the chances that the Raptors all score 45 or less fantasy points and just be average plays?
I don't think all of them score 45 or less. That's tough.
If Norman Powell, like if he dropped 35-38, which is whatever at this price, and then Lowry and VanVleet both scored under 50. And then, let's talk about these FanDuel prices on Lowry and VanVleet, by the way.
Yeah, the FanDuel prices are kind of wild. Yeah.
Okay. What's up, Ben Snapping? Mopar says Kyle Lowry's going for 55 tonight after those old man comments by DeMar DeRozan. 55 real points?
I know it's a joke. Yeah. I mean, they are much better DK plays, though.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But yeah, you get the bonuses, and yeah.
Josh Redfoot, only like Van Fleet. Everyone else. Guys, how did the Fleet crap start? I saw a Reddit thread the other day that thought Van Fleet was a Mandela effect. I was like, no, it's never. What? Is it a pet peeve? It's probably a pet peeve when people say Van Fleet, and I just don't understand why. Like, his name is clearly Fleet. The Dodgers gave Bauer 102 over 3 years. Glad the Yankees were never interested in Bauer. Brian Cashman would never put up with the nonsense that Trevor Bauer does, and I was so relieved to hear that, like, early on, like, that we were never even going to be in the discussion, because Trevor Bauer has me blocked on Twitter, and that would just be so awkward to have to root for some douchebag that has me blocked. What do you think about Lowry over 6.5? I mean, Chronic seems to love that. Seems like a good spot for it. $40 million guaranteed in the first year's contract becomes less lucrative after each year's going to opt out. Yeah, I mean, Bauer's playing off of really one strong, shortened season in a weak division. I do think he's one of those beautiful minds, but it's just not a guy I would hang out with. Powell point props probably 19.5, no juice. Okay, Lowry ain't got skill to score 55. What up, Ryan Bratz? I haven't seen that name in years. Paul says the thing with Powell is he looked like a bust after 3 quarters versus Orlando. Then he scored 10 in a row with 2 steals. How many minutes Powell usually plays? I got Norman Powell at 31. And I think if this game goes more small ball than anything, like I got 24 minutes on Aaron Baines. I wouldn't be shocked if that turns into 15, and then this just turns into centerless basketball. So if Baines goes from 24 to 15, I don't necessarily think that's more for Boucher. It could just be small ball basketball, and Norman Powell can go from 31 to 35, 36, all things considered. Call him Van Elite. Bauer has me blocked too, man. Bauer has a lot of us blocked. It looks like I'm blocked by Trevor Bauer and Marcus Stroman, and yeah, it is. But Bauer's dude speaks his mind. I love it. His dating rules are legendary. Anti-simp Bauer power. I mean, I get why he's an internet phenom. Like his mind, everything. Like I understand it. I don't hate him as a person, but I would not want him on my baseball team. I just wouldn't. Washington Wizards at the Miami Heat. Next game on the docket. Project starting 5 for the Wizards. Russell Westbrook, Bradley Beal, Danny Advia, Rui Hachimura, Robin Lopez taking on Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Jimmy G Buckets, Kelly Olynyk, and Bam Adebayo. 230 total. 7-point spread in favor of the home team, Miami Heat. Bauer led the NL in pretty much every pitching category. I know it was short season, but he's not overrated. I think Bauer's definitely overrated. But I don't necessarily think it's his fault or anybody's fault, especially going off an abbreviated season. But, man, how many times did he get to just, like, bully ball the NL Central last year? Like, the NL Central was so bad. So bad. So, like, the strength of schedule was in his favor. He's had a lot of plus part. I don't know. I don't hate him, but I don't think he's a perennial Cy Young contender. I think this year he'll bleed red a little bit more when he faces the Padres more often versus facing the Dodgers and the Cardinals and all that, you know. Anyway, Westbrook's back. He's 9K on DraftKings, 9,800 on FanDuel. Mr. Triple-Double. Going against the Miami Heat. The matchup's a little tougher. The pace is down. The defensive rating is closer to red than green here. But the Miami Heat are finally looking a little bit more full strength, about as healthy as they've been all year, even though it's more like 2 steps forward, 1 step backwards. Bradley's still out. In a slate where all eyes might be on some of the more juicy total studs, is Westbrook at 9K on DraftKings just going to be forgotten, and is this another spot for him to just drop 50-plus fantasy points? 50 and 73 his last 2 games, 2 of the softer matchups you could ask for, the Blazers and the Brooklyn Nets, but it does look like he doesn't have a minutes restricted on him, and there's really not much reason to push back at this price point, just knowing the type of player he can be and the responsibility he has here. Where's your love levels for Westy?
I like Westbrook here. I think anyone paying that price tag is going to look at the Toronto-Brooklyn game He could easily outscore. I mean, yeah, if he outscores everyone in that Toronto Brooklyn game, I wouldn't be shocked. Very possible. So give me some Russell Westbrook here. I think he's the only guy playing this game though. Miami's come back to full strength, getting healthy. So not really wanting to play Jimmy Butler, Hero, Bam, anything like that. Just Westbrook at that price. I think he's a 10-5 type of guy. So getting a discount here.
You're that out on Butler. You wouldn't even toss him in the mix. He's dropped 40 plus. He's actually hit value every game since he's been back.
Yeah, he has. Small forward spot. I mean, I'll have some of them. I think there's a lot of value guys at that small forward position who will probably play more than him. But if he fits in, if I pay up for a small forward spot, he'll be there. It's just tough to get him with lineup construction right now.
Double-digit free throw attempts in 3 straight games for Jimmy Butler. He's turned back into Jimmy minutes, 34-plus minutes. And in that last game, his team only scored 100 points, and he only had 19 real points, like half of that from free throws, and he's still getting there. We talk about triple-doubles. Jimmy Butler's flirting with triple-doubles every game, essentially, since coming back. So I think 8,300 for Jimmy Butler. It might be way more meat on the bone, and his price it might just be egregious when we look back at this portion of the season in a couple of weeks to a couple months. So don't forget about Jimmy Butler. I mean, the Washington Wizards hung in there without Westbrook. Maybe Westbrook lowers their scoring efficiency coming back to the lineup, but Jimmy can get it done. And much like I said last game, I know the Westbrook is back, but this is a front court for the Wizards that without Thomas Bryant, like this is who rebounds for this team. So I do think Butler, those rebounds, 6, 7, 8 rebounds for him aren't anomalic, and we know the assists will be there for him as well. So I do have a infatuation with Jimmy G here. I do want to double check with the Miami Heat injury report, just kind of get updated statuses on Dragic. Dragic is probable, and that's all that matters. So Dragic in, Tyler Hero in. Dragic's 5,700. Is there a world where Dragic would outscore Cole Anthony today? 18-26. I probably don't mess with it, right? I don't know. I think Jimmy's a better play than you think. It sounds like. Chat, what are you doing on this one before we move on? ETC says LaMelo Ball is about to pop off today. Maybe coming back to the bench. I can see it. He's getting it done against slower teams. Now he gets the dream matchup. Who are we talking about? Asano. I missed out on that one. Butler's eating triple-double threat. Yep. LaMelo's officially the starter. I think he'll be aggressive. Is he officially the starter? I remember last slate they said if Rozier would be active, he would come off the bench. But I don't know that was also to be perceived as LaMelo is now the starter. I think he should be. I think he will be. I don't know necessarily if it's today. But I also think he works really well with Miles Bridges, and they built that chemistry off the bench, and we saw that in Game 1 of Miles starting for PJ and LaMelo starting for Rozier. So kind of look out for that, because I wouldn't be stunned if there's a Rozier, Caleb Martin, or Cody Martin, one of the Martins, over Bridges and Melo. Fleet, yeah. Butler over 36.5 PRA or Adebayo over 33.5 PRA. What would you prefer? Well, Shadow Stefan, I do have a tab here in the RunDFS.com NBA VIP spreadsheet. And just based on my projections here, let me sort it from PRA. Butler, I have him at 34.4, and you have him at 36.5. So I'm not really, unless you bet the under, I'm not really seeing that. I have 36.2 PRA on Adebayo. So it looks like Adebayo at 33.5. So I got a 4-point discrepancy here. So I probably go the Adebayo one, thinking that those rebounds go to him this game. I know last game it was a sweat. I think Chronic and Young C were telling me about that. Rozier's coming off the bench now. Is that official though? Like I haven't seen, like, ETC. I definitely think it's a possible, but I haven't seen that corroborated or 100% confirmed yet. But if it is, like, I'm not pushing. Like, I definitely think it's coming soon. But that last game, I thought that was more so an announcement based on his injury versus anything else. So, yeah. He's got them tabs. Alex Len getting minutes, 27 last game, thinks he gets it again. You think Alex Len gets 27 minutes here? So, Alex Len, 3,300. 27 minutes did correlate with it definitely correlated with Westbrook being out, so maybe they needed some rebounding. But let's go put some context to this and pull up the popcorn machine because there's still a real chance that Alex Len plays 10 minutes, right? So Alex Len played a lot of minutes in the first half, so it looks like that was at least part of the plan. And then the second half, he closed out the entire fourth quarter, and Robin Lopez did not touch the court. So maybe he's eating into Rolo a little bit, and maybe he's earning his keep. I'll say this, Raj, even though it's not a good matchup, if I told you right now 3,300 Alex Len was guaranteed 25 minutes, do you play him?
I played him. I played him when he played 4 minutes against Brooklyn. I don't know why I played 4 minutes that game. Do I need to get there? It's a center spot on DK. Probably won't get there on DK or FanDuel. It's just I want to play the Vooches or a Young or just too many good centers for me to give up one for Alex Len.
Yeah. Looking at Sean says Yankees. Can I hit Bauer's curveball? I always play Bauer versus Yankees in DFS last few years. I don't remember a whole lot of Bauer versus Yankees matchups. I think Judge homered off of him. I don't even know. I don't remember. I can't remember the last time Bauer pitched against the Yankees. Obviously, his
contracts
he had to be with the Indians.
Like 40 mil the first year, then like 45, then like 20 something. So he's just gonna opt out, I assume.
Yeah. So he was initially talking about going for 1 year deals and opt outs, thinking he would get better. But the players' union was like, "No, dude, don't do that," because then you set a precedent.
He still has the highest annual salary per pitcher ever. So
yeah, sure. Never seen word on Melo. Yeah, you heard him. Blah blah blah. Bam is such a sweat. Yep. Hornets coach said that Rozier would come off the bench and Graham and Melo would be the starters for a while. ETC, do we have a link to that, ETC? Because I know that's what he said last game if Rozier was in. Like I said, I think that will be factual eventually. I just would like to see it confirmed for today's context. But anyway, we'll get to that. Everyone's sleeping on Bradley Beal. Maybe. Can Bradley Beal outscore Kyrie Irving? Right? Maybe. I don't think that's.
I mean, do I think Bradley Beal gets 30 real life points today? Sure. I just think Westbrook definitely takes away a lot.
Yeah. All right. I'm really curious now. Trevor Bauer, DKP by game log versus Yankees. Let's go last 10 games. All right. There's no slate breaking tournament win. There's a 30 bomb in here from October 5th, so a playoff game. Outside of that, he's taking L, so you're not getting the +4. There's not tournament winning games here, man. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't remember him like dominating us, and I don't remember it like the last game he pitched against the Yankees was in 2018, 7-8, like modest strikeout totals, all things considered for the Yankees. I don't know, man. I think you're remembering stuff a little bit different, unless you had him in that 30 bomb, or unless he was 6K. I don't know. Rozier back is going to be interesting if Rozier or Devontae come off the bench. I do think Rozier should be the one coming off the bench. I think Devontae's better suited as a shooting guard. But it seemed like it was hinted at that LaMelo would start over Rozier last game. I just don't know that that's been confirmed yet. You know, the Dodgers using stimulus money to get these players apparently.
Talk about it.
It's updates on the 3-point conversation and on FanDuel about LaMelo starting. Are you sure that's? Let me double check. Starting the second game, blah blah blah. I don't see the updates there. There was a quote that came out before the last game that said he would start if Rozier was active, but that I didn't necessarily take that as that's for sure the decision going forward. Anyway, I think it's possible. I'm just saying, I would love to see that confirmed for today, because I thought that could have just been game specific to the last game. Have to stop getting on here at work. My female coworkers are all over. Good. Whoa, hey, whoa, I'm taking. My friend Gunn, he's already taken. He's really cracked at DFS. Minnesota Timberwolves at the Oklahoma City Thunder. Project starting 5. Got to go down. ETC, I think you're going off of an old report, bro. if I gotta scroll down, news, scroll down. Ball make his first career, blah blah blah. You got to read Rozier's. Oh, Rozier's log, not LaMelo. Okay. If I do all this for the date to be 3 days ago, 99% chance to return to Hornets on Friday. Say there's a 90% chance he plays Friday against the Utah Jazz. Rozier listed probable injury report. LaMelo Ball is expected to remain in the starting lineup, so the Hornets will likely bring Rozier, Devontae Graham off the bench. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Again, it's not like tied to an official beat writer or something like that, which is what I was saying. Like, that's completely what I expect in the future. I just haven't seen it confirmed for the day. But nonetheless, we're splitting hairs here. Like, I don't know where we're. Why is such a? I think it's very, very likely that this season LaMelo Ball is the starting point guard forever for the Hornets. I just wanted to see that confirmed, and that's not really tied to a quote just yet. T-Wolves at the Thunder. Project starting five for the T-Wolves. D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, Josh Okogie, Anthony Edwards, Naz Reid taking on Theo Maledon, Ham Diallo, Kenrich Williams, Darius Baisley, and Al Horford. We got a 220 total. A pick'em. This game seems very, very stackable. You look on each side. We got a sub 7K D Russ. Definitely seems like a guy that can chip and chair us for 40-plus fantasy points. Not consistent, not warm and fuzzy, but he's there. Anthony Edwards, 5,500 for him. Can I get to 30-plus fantasy points? Can he hit some more shots at a consistent rate? I think that the T-Wolves all have a bunch of guys that individually we can justify, but I think the source of our information and the predictive value in projecting minutes and usage goes to the Thunder here. I got Maledon projected for almost 36 minutes, Diallo 33. Like, these are the parts of this game that I'm thinking I want. I almost don't know where I go wrong from the Thunder. So I guess I'll follow this by playing devil's advocate and trying to argue against some of these guys, but know that it's just for an exercise because I like all these guys in and of themselves. I'll start with Theo Maledon. If Theo Maledon did not have a billion stocks last game, 6 steals, 1 block, would he be irrelevant at 5K? Yes. He might even kill you at 5K. So was that a little bit of a bailout? Maybe, but he still took double-digit shot attempts.
He shot 2 for 12. Like, right. He shoots 6 for 12. He's ultimate shot today.
If he shoots 6 for 12 and gets those steals, he's 5K. I need 30 fantasy points or bust, basically, right?
Yeah.
So he's somebody I'm going to be a little skittish with, but I'm still going to play him. Again, this is just for me trying to make some sense of who's good chalk, who's bad chalk here. Ham Diallo, another guy that's right at the price point where I need that 30 fantasy points. I think he gets it. Darius Baisley, I think, is the one they left a little bit of meat on the bone, 5,700. Raj, would you pay 7K for Baisley today?
Yeah, because he did a lot of his work at half and really kind of cooled down the second half. So I think this game, it's a better pace for them, better matchup. So I mean, Darius Baisley tier 1, maybe my highest on guy on the slate.
That's what I'm thinking. So I'm thinking the guy with the most upside left on his price point is probably Baisley, as a more than likely going to double against the T-Wolves, and then maybe he exceeds 20 real points, 15 rebounds, something crazy like that. So I do like Baisley the most. Horford has a chip in a chair at 6K.
He's on a minutes limit. He's like on an unknown minutes limit. He doesn't play more than 30 minutes.
He's still in the conversation for 30-plus fantasy points. And Kenrich Williams, bare bones minutes. So Lou Dort got injured that last game. It looks like Kenrich Williams is going to be the immediate benefactor minutes-wise. 23 minutes, 20 minutes last 2 games, 30 fantasy points against Houston. I certainly believe that we know Kenrich Williams from the New Orleans Pelicans to not be somebody we should go crazy for, right? But at 3,500, you can see 20-plus fantasy points as a range outcome in this matchup. The Minnesota Timberwolves allowing 6.3 blocks per game. If we go to that team metrics tab and RunDFS.com NBA VIP spreadsheet, that is the most blocks per game in the NBA right now. So does do one of these Thunder's players take advantage of that? I think Baisley and Al Horford are averaging the most blocks per game on this team. So just another check mark for Baisley. So I think, the Thunder seem like they're still pretty solid to stack.
Jackson, I think the other option, played 30 minutes last game. Want to take a punt on a guy.
Yeah, I got him at 29 here for sure. Jackson, let me pull up Jackson. Oh, there's a lot of Jacksons. All right. The one in OKC. There's a lot of Jacksons on the slate today. 30 minutes, did 12 DKP, 2 for 9. Sure. Chat, what do you guys do with this one before we move on? Is the Toronto-Brooklyn game stackable? I think in theory, yes, but in execution, no, right? Like, how do you comfortably get Van Vliet, Lowry, Siakam, and then 2 of the big 3?
Yeah, I mean, the price is like a full stack. I don't think it's going to happen. But you can get, 2 or 3 pieces from that game.
My girl wanted to go to the mall. I said, gun is on. We go when he says we can go. Okay. Don't get me in trouble. Hold up. It's Valentine's Day in 9 days, boys. Make sure you're taking care of the missus. Ryan says, does that really help Melo all that much? I feel like Rozier would get more usage for second unit now that Melo is with all the starters. I think Melo's fine. I think Melo, his style of basketball isn't dependent on anything else. Like, he's on the court, he's running the court. And the fact that PJ Washington's out and they threw Miles Bridges in the mix, they've already had that pick and roll chemistry. Melo's just such a triple-double threat, do-it-all kind of guy that it almost doesn't matter. He's going to control the court. He won't be second to nobody in usage. Chronic says, Baisley, get me 9 boards and I'll love you forever. Is Darius Baisley's rebound prop 8.5 against the T-Wolves? That seems soft. I could see that. Why you put a chip on a chair? It's chip and a chair, Chronic.
Hashtag poker.
Yeah, it's a poker phrase. I guess some people don't understand it. It means if you have a chip in a chair, right? You go to a poker table and guys are there with big stacks of chips. All you need is one chip to play.
How much Russell are you gonna play?
I might not have any, to be honest. He's just been so inconsistent, and I think I'd rather.
He has. That price is nice though. I mean, that it's at 6,900. This is a guy we would pay 8K for without Cat 8.5. I know
the minutes, all right. That's 37-minute. Beasley, I think, does detract from his potential upside, and Anthony Edwards is a chucker as well. So I just don't have high hopes. I do think if I look up and Russell has 40-plus fantasy points, like no surprise at all. But
this is why his minutes are down. Like, I mean, Edwards' last 3 games, 32, 31, 30. He was playing like 24-ish kind of minutes early in the season. Now he's kind of bumped up.
Desmond saying, "Gun, who do you like more, Horford or Naz Reid?"
I'll probably take Horford.
If they were going to play the same exact minutes, I got Horford for more fantasy points. So probably Horford. Yeah.
I don't think Naz is a bad play, though. He plays.
Yeah, I agree with that. PG-13's game time decision. Yeah, midday questionable for Paul George. Could be shaking the slate on Kawhi's ownership. Never call him Melo. It's LaMelo. There's only one Melo. They call him Melo Yellow. Top 4 plays for the Thunder are 19.4K combined. So the Thunder might be your way to go get that Nets game, right? What's up, Jay Truth? I think Horford gets more than 30 minutes of competitive game. Louis, go back to Beasley with D'Angelo game time decision. Let me get the update on D'Angelo here.
I mean, he's been questionable the past few games that I think he's played.
He's questionable playing Friday with the right quad bruise. He played through the injury Wednesday. He's been listed as questionable to play and then played for multiple games now. There's a good chance he gives it a go. So, yeah. But if he was out, sure, yeah, Malik Beasley all day. No Horford is averaging 1.1 DKP a minute. But he doesn't play 30 minutes at most for 25-29. You're not winning a tournament with this 25-23 from Horford. I think if you get some of those surprise like blocks, right? If he has a 3+ block game or something like that, added in with 15, 20 real points and 5-8 rebound. There's a range of outcome, but you do feel like you got a glass ceiling based on his propensity to not play deep minutes. So I can see both sides of that. But basically for me, Diallo's 2, right? Diallo's your number 2 priority.
Yeah. Diallo's Maladon and Diallo are close. I want to say, again, Maladon's bad shooting night. I'm still going to be on him. Probably give Diallo the little edge. Again, didn't love what I saw. Only took 9 shots. Kind of expected Diallo to take a little more. So they're close. I want to say they're right there. It's Maudon, Diallo, Bazley, and then guys like Kenrich Williams and Horford.
Yeah. So they scored 104 points last game. Vegas given 110 really here. Timberwolves defense much worse than Houston, even though Houston was just kind of glued together that game. So
I go the over on that Vegas OKC total too.
Maybe. I don't know, man. I don't know. I still think the Thunder have some solid defender. Even Kenrich Williams might surprise us. And offensively, I don't know. I definitely think the Thunder could. I'd probably take the over on the Thunder team total, but I don't know about trusting the T-Wolves here. Horford can get fake stocks and smash those to match it. I agree. Bigs versus T-Wolves, print money. T-Wolves on that infamous DVP chart are giving up the most fantasy points per game to opposing centers. So I like Bazley to take more advantage of that than Horford, just based on rebound propensity. But Horford's actually averaging over 7 boards a game this season as well, which I'll be honest, I might have been sleeping on that. Horford 6, 7, 6, 11. Yeah. A little bit. Might have a little bit. Let's move on to the next game. Utah Jazz at the Charlotte Hornets. Project starting 5 for the Jazz. Mike Conley, Donovan Mitchell, Bojan Bogdanovic, Royce O'Neal, Rudy Gobert. Taking on Terry Rozier, maybe. Could be LaMelo. Devontae Graham, Gordon Hayward, Miles Bridges, and Cody Zeller. A 223 total. 8.5 point spread in favor of the Utah Jazz. Utah, one of the best teams in basketball, looking to get an easy win here, I guess. I don't know that there's much high ownership for me in this Jazz game outside of Rudy Gobert. I think Gobert is somebody I can still expect to dominate on the boards. He's averaging 13.4 rebounds per game. If we go to the team metrics chart, actually, we don't need to do that. We'll just go look at the rebound rate. The defensive rebound rate for the Hornets is at 75%, which, to put that in perspective, that's the worst defensive rebound rate in all of basketball. So Rudy Gobert has one of the most enticing matchups for 20 rebound potential here. So I do like him there. And then, of course, the Charlotte Hornets are a little bit undersized. They are allowing over 5 blocks per game. That builds right into Rudy Gobert's upside. He's averaging almost 3 blocks per game. He should absolutely have a stock fest here. I like him on both sides. 7,400 on DraftKings leaves a lot of meat on the bone. And then do we get 10, 15 real points from him, get that free double-double bonus? I think that's very plausible. So I do like Rudy Gobert as kind of like a back pocket stocking stuffer for solid range of outcomes in his fantasy production. Jordan Clarkson's a curious click on FanDuel at 4,500. I just feel like individually that's too cheap for what he could do. 4,500, Clarkson could probably hit value in 20 minutes. One of the things the Hornets do the worst is defending the 3 ball. They are giving up the 4th most points via 3-pointers in the league, and the Jazz are the best 3-point shooting team in basketball. So Jordan Clarkson could chuck some shots with the best of them. So I do like 4,500 Clarkson on FanDuel. And on the Hornets side, I don't have any warm and fuzzies on anybody. Cody Zeller was 30% owned essentially against Joel Embiid. So you wonder if he'll be high owned against Gobert. Gobert's Gobert. We have seen some success against Gobert. Guys like Mason Plumlee who are Zeller-esque. And without PJ Washington, you might put Zeller on deeper minutes than usual. Just looking for some beef in that front court. So I do think there's a puncher's chance for Cody Zeller to just give you another shot at 30 fantasy points. That's about what I have him projected for. Devontae Graham, 5-4 on FanDuel. I could take some shots of that for 35 minutes. 6-6 on DraftKings. I'm kind of, for me, the only way like Devontae gets there is if the Hornets start firing back in a 3-point shootout, and then you're just hoping Devontae hits with any type of efficiency. Him, Rozier, they can chuck threes. Gordon Hayward, revenge game against his old team, Utah Jazz. Maybe he has some fun with that. 37 minutes on him. But there's really just not a lot of juice on any of these prices on any of the Hornets. Even LaMelo is uncomfortable. Are you doing anything with the Hornets here? And are the Utah Jazz anyone other than Gobert and Clarkson for you?
I think he covered it. Gobert, great rebounding spot here. 7-4 on DK. Definitely has. This could be a 20 rebound spot for him. Give me some of him. You mentioned Jordan Clarkson, 5'5". I think Jordan Clarkson's a great pivot at 5'5" from kind of like this 5K from like Diallo or Maladon. You could easily outscore them, and they're similarly priced. I like Clarkson. Charlotte side, I have a Rozier back, just not comfortable click. Cody Zeller 6'1" on DK. It's been a ridiculous price. Not going to pay that for him. Even though we've seen some big center games against Gobert, I don't really think Zeller's that type of big. Bridges at 5'4", I think he's interesting again. Should play 30-plus minutes, get you 30 DK. But don't hate Bridges. But other than Bridges, don't think I'm getting to any Charlotte guys.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, chat. What are you doing with this one before we move on to the next one? Anyone going to Roby? Isaiah Roby? I didn't have aspirations of playing Isaiah Roby, but yeah. Desmond Morris says tough matchup for LaMelo, but then again, so was Miami, and he got off. Yeah, Melo's just one of those do-it-all guys, right? Like you can play isolation defense against scorers, but guys that can go out there and just hustle rebounds and assists, like it's not as it's not as scary to play those guys. It's just a matter of minutes. If Terry Rozier was out, do I put LaMelo at 35, 36 minutes instead of 30? I think possibly. And then Miles Bridges on FanDuel is 4,800. Not a warm and fuzzy spot here, but he does work well with Melo. But if Melo, I guess if Bridges is sharing the court here with all these other starters, it's not a consistent success spot in my opinion. Gobert hasn't played over 30 minutes in like 5 games, though, and this game has a chance to blow out. I agree with that, Desmond. I definitely think that would be my number one case against Gobert. But at the same time, man, if he had 20 rebounds here, I'm definitely not stunned. Last couple games for Gobert, lopsided affairs. The Atlanta game got away from him. Detroit game got away from him. Denver, he got bullied by Jokic. So I understand the trepidation here, but I'm willing to not be a game log watcher. And just have a couple shots at him having one of those tournament-winning 5-block, 20-rebound, super ceiling spots. But it would be tier 3 exposure at most, just based on him being 7,400. But you're not wrong to be weary because this game does look like it could get lopsided as well. What up, Young C? No Melo at that price, too streaky. Melo. It's kind of crazy. I don't know if it's crazy, but I wonder how he got that name, right? Wasn't Carmelo with Lala? So it's just kind of ironic to put La Melo. You know what I'm saying?
It is a little bit. I mean, clearly, Ball. He likes the L's.
He does.
He kept the L. D'Angelo, Lonzo, LaMelo. Yeah, I mean, it just kind of fits the L.
Law Gundacker is going to break down the Pistons at the Phoenix Suns. Project 35 for the Pistons. DeLon Wright, Wayne Ellington, Jeremy Grant, Blake Griffin, Mason Plumlee taking on Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, Cameron Johnson, and DeAndre Ayton. A 214.5 total, 7.5 point spread in favor of the Phoenix Suns. A lot of 6, 7, 8 point spreads tonight. The Pistons not giving us much to work with. Jeremy Grant's been the guy that I take shots on for the Pistons. Does he have a date with Mikal Bridges today to kind of push me backwards? Maybe. Blake Griffin, 5K. Does he get 30-plus fantasy points? Maybe. Mason Plumlee, him and Cody Zeller have been a little bit consistent for 25, 30 fantasy points. But there's nothing here that I'm going to write home about. Chris Paul's had a streak of success against the Mavs. Devin Booker's back in the mix. Does that soften the upside a little bit? Chris Paul's last game here with Booker back, 25 minutes against Nollins, a 20-point blowout. Is this a scratch off? I mean, I feel like other than DeAndre Ayton, I'm not on much here, and even Ayton's not somebody I have extremely high expectations. I guess Ayton versus Gobert on like a turbo slate would be a cute 1v1, with Ayton probably winning the minute projection there. But the Pistons matchup isn't like tough for centers as well. I think one of the things to note here, Detroit's giving up a top 6 amount of fantasy points per game to opposing centers, and they're also allowing 6.3 blocks per game, and Ayton averaging over a block per game. Maybe he takes advantage of that. But man, there's not a whole lot of front end interest for me, and I could see myself just not even having a single player from this game. What about you?
Thinking the same thing. This game seems like a scratch off. The other the value on the slate and the studs. There's just nobody here that really intrigues me. I mean, Jeremy Grant 7K, but Bridges has been elite defensively this year, so not someone I'm going to target. Just a scratch off here. Jaylen Brown officially ruled out. Scratch this game off. Yeah, make it a 8-game slate instead of 9.
Jaylen Brown officially ruled out.
And Paul George ruled out. I mean, this might be the game of the night with these guys.
Very interesting. Chat, you do anything particularly special with that game before we move on to the next one? I don't think so. Tatum season. Yup. Tatum then? Yeah. So luckily for us, we haven't spent time breaking that game down just yet. That'll be next on the docket. We'll take Brown out. There's no Marcus Smart. What are we doing? Javante Green maybe? Jeff Teague maybe?
Peyton Pritchard is back.
All right, let's just put Peyton Pritchard in the mix for now, but it can go so many different ways. Before we break down that game, chat, got a couple asks for you. If you guys can do me a favor, everyone hit that thumbs up. Would love to see 50+ thumbs up today. We've been really, really good at positive ratio. Even the trolls, I've been getting trolled lately. The videos haven't really been getting thumbs down. And I think I might have showed my hand a little bit. Thumbs down help the channel a lot too. So it's just interaction with the video that helps us in the algorithm. But anyway, if you guys want to hang out with me in a little bit before lock, from 5 p.m. Eastern to 7 p.m. Eastern, I do a pre-lock voice chat in RunDFS.com VIP Discord. It's not as formal as these streams are. It can get a little crazy at times, but it's fun. A little fraternal brotherhood and sisterhood. Celia pops in. My old lady will pop in. We'll have some fun there. If you guys want to talk the slate with us and have some like-minded grinders with you, go to RunDFS.com, make yourself an account. Try out a week pass, man. Just try out that week pass, see what you think. When you do sign up, you click VIP passes, you choose a pass for you, and then you'll have access to the VIP forums. You click VIP thread, onboarding thread, and there'll be a link to the NBA spreadsheet and a link to this Discord. And this Discord is just a 24/7 source of funness. Not only do we do pre-lock voice chats for NBA, if you guys are into Top Shot, we discuss Top Shot. We have props and betting, but pre-lock voice chat would be right here. You can click on that. You can grab a mic, join in, or you can mute yourself, listen in. It's pretty entertaining, if nothing else. And like I said, it gets informal, but it's fun. It's part of my process for the last couple of years. We'd love to have you. You'll also unlock immediate access to the RunDFS.com NBA VIP spreadsheet. That'll get you access to my player projections for FanDuel, DraftKings, and Yahoo. My player props tab. If you guys bet player points, rebounds, assists, PRA, stuff like that. We have been playing on Prize Picks as well. What else do we have here? And then we'll have some NASCAR coverage in a couple weeks. And I did see our buddy Kyle from Fantasy Domination. I don't want to pull it up here, but if you scroll down long enough, Kyle's NHL spins, he did post his favorite stacks and thoughts for today's hockey slate. So if you guys want to dabble in that, go check that out. So much going on sports-wise. And then, of course, the Super Bowl this weekend. That'll be fun. Do you ever prop bet Super Bowl stuff like Gatorade colors and coin tosses and
I've done the coin toss before. I mean, I think there was one year I think we said how long. Who was it? Who was the singer? I think it was Lady Gaga. That was even like how long is she going to hold the run for in the national anthem?
Oh yeah, the over under on national anthems.
Yeah. That's really some of my music friends. Yeah, it's always a fun one to do. That just to bet the game, got the Chiefs and just say, hey, anyone want some action? If y'all picking the Bucks, I got the Chiefs. Holler at me.
Wait, did you just call out the viewers?
Yeah, if anyone wants some action, I got everything on the.
I'd be careful with making bets against hundreds of people we don't actually know.
We need what do you call it? Middleman?
Escrow.
Escrow account needed, no doubt.
So are you just looking for money line bets, Bucks versus Chiefs? Because if you're gonna do that, you would just bet the Bucks money line with Vegas and get juice on it because it's a 3.5 point spread. It's just more fun
doing it person to person.
It's not though. If you're not gonna give up 3 points, it's not. There's no point in it,
I guess.
So if you give up, if you're taking Bucks bets, you gotta put some juice.
I've given like 20% juice. That's what I've given to someone.
There you have it, chat. Twitter.com.
20%. So 100 to 120.
Main event tonight, Boston Celtics at the Los Angeles Clippers. We just got word that Jaylen Brown will not play this game. So projected starting five for the Celtics, Kemba Walker, maybe Peyton Pritchard slides into that starting lineup, maybe Jeff Green, Javonte Green, somebody like that. Jason Tatum, Daniel Tice, Tristan Thompson taking on Reggie Jackson, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and Nick Batum, and Serge Ibaka, and from the Department of the Redundancy Department. Not only do we know that Jaylen Brown's out, but we did get a midday questionable tag on Paul George, right? So there's still the verdict out on Paul George's status. Let me see if I can get the update on what was going on with him. Paul George, I got nothing here. What about on DraftKings? George is questionable against the Celtics due to soreness in his right foot. Interesting. So there's a chance that Paul George could sit this one out. And then we have a Brownless Celtics versus a Georgeless Clippers. And then you could almost put, Tatum versus Kawhi at each other and hope for the best. Now, this game's just a 220 total. Does Jaylen Brown's absence move this line any more? Does Paul George's absence move this line anymore? Let's see if there's any reaction already from Vegas using the Vegas tab at Fantasy Labs. I did have we had it at 221. It's dropped to 219. I caught it at 220, so it does look like it has dropped a point. We'll see if there's any more movement on that line. But the Celtics have an implied total of 106.25. The Clippers at 112.75. So we'll keep an eye on that line here. Just out of curiosity's sake, let's go pull up the Boston Celtics via the on-off court tool over at Fantasy Labs. It's a free feature, I believe. Let's go take off Marcus Smart, and let's take off Jaylen Brown. And then we'll go ahead and put I guess we'll just put Jason Tatum on. That's kind of what I'm looking for an overall usage here, even though Kemba Walker's still in the mix. But Jason Tatum is outside of 3 minutes with Kemba Walker, leads the team in usage at 34.6%, 1.2 fantasy point per minute. And if we elongate on that going to last season, Brown and Smart off, Tatum on, it's somewhat consistent, almost a 34% usage rate last season, 365 minutes of sample size over fantasy point per minute. So I do think this midday news will shake a lot of ownership just a little bit, and people will value Tatum pretty highly. He's 9,500 on FanDuel. He's coming off a huge game against the Kings, right, where Jeff Teague was out. So I think a lot of people will feel more confident seeing that 50 bomb there. I think he'll be popular. Is he going to be over-owned at 9,500, crossing paths with Kemba, with Kawhi on a road trip? I don't know. Where do you think he's gonna end ownership?
I think Tatum and Kawhi. I mean, if Paul George gets ruled out, Tatum and Kawhi will be two of the highest owned studs. They're gonna play these two over the Kyries, the Hardens, the Westbrooks of the world. It seems like the right play. I mean, with those guys missing, they get all the usage. I mean, 8-9.
I wish it was cheaper, right? It doesn't feel like I'm getting a fantastic. Like I feel like a 9K. All right, 50 on this size slate is probably what I'm looking for, right? Would you play Sabonis? Like if you had to bet Sabonis to outscore Tatum, I think there's at least a chance there that happens.
It's a thought, yeah. I think there's more than a chance, no, for sure. Yeah, I mean, what's Tatum's up? Like, is his upside just 55? I don't think he's flashed like a 70 point.
So last 10 games without Jaylen Brown, 50, 36, 35, 59, 56. So three of his last 5 games we'd absolutely take today. 2 of those games we wouldn't. Those were against OKC and Utah from last season. Last season, OKC was one of the better defensive teams, and that was in 38 minutes and then 33 minutes against Utah, 35 DKB. So I think there's a range of outcomes where it works and it doesn't work. But it seems like even the on the high end of the positive median range of outcome, 50 fantasy points is kind of what you would get, but that's what you need at 89. So I'm all aboard like the reasoning behind Tatum right now. Like I'm for it, but is he going to be over-owned?
I think so. I think he'll be very over-owned. He'll be uber chalk. I think Westbrook easily outscores him to slate. I won't say easily, but
yeah, I wouldn't say easily
40%
either,
chance.
but there's certainly okay. And I don't want to doubt the field yet either because the
And what
field.
about Kawhi?
So is Kawhi, like for you, is interest in Kawhi contingent on Paul George being in or out? Because we may not have that information by lock.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because I really wasn't wanting to play Kawhi. If this was a full game stretch, I would think this is two kind of defensive teams going at it. The pace is going to be slow, two grinded out teams. So yeah, I wasn't going to play anybody in this game really. But if those two guys are out, I mean, it still might be a grinded out game, right? Kind of low defensive scoring game.
Yeah, I'm not expecting like a shootout. Some of these when you get some defensive studs, like sometimes it surprises you. But I don't know, man. 9-5. So on FanDuel I think is really where I'm struggling with this because Jason Tatum is 9-5 on FanDuel. He's really the only. I mean, there's Adebayo in the mix, but there's like this is a player pool position wise that offers Darius Bazley at 5'6", right? I'm probably not going to waver off of Bazley. It doesn't.
We talked about Sabonis strong.
Sabonis. I guess Sabonis versus Jason Tatum would be my conflict on both sides.
Yeah, I think Tatum probably doubles or triples Sabonis' ownership, so Sabonis might be an elite tournament play if we're higher on him.
I don't disagree. I almost agree with Raj finally. Like, if Tatum is 3 times the Sabonis ownership and they have a similar range of outcomes, and Sabonis is going against maybe a more porous defense, yeah, I don't know. Man.
Do you lock Kawhi in if George is ruled out?
At 9-6, 8-8? I mean, I don't think we would know that for sure before lock. And then if we were making that decision, like there's a chance that news did come out, but if we were making that decision before lock, we would be surrendering access to the Beals, the Kyries, the Westbrooks. You know what I'm saying? Like we can't get away from the pivots.
I don't even know who you'd pivot to.
Yeah, so I don't know. I probably don't.
And it seems like if Jaylen Brown's out and George and Kawhi play, Clippers might run away with this. They've been playing well.
Maybe. Any chance Kemba has to stretch out a little bit more now that 35 minutes of Jaylen Brown isn't there?
His FanDuel price is a lot more intriguing at 55 versus his
I got 57.
Price.
Yeah.
57. Draft price 65. So I like him more on FanDuel for sure. But he played 30 minutes last game, shot 6 for 18. Going to get a usage bump. So if he plays 30, maybe a 32, I like him.
Daniel Tice, 495K. Chipping a chair for 25, 30 plus FanDuel points. Tristan Thompson's 3,800 on FanDuel. He's unique to me because he is a power forward eligible player on FanDuel. If you're really trying to stretch for some deep value, got 28 against a much better matchup in the Sacramento Kings. But still, per minute, he might threaten a double-double. But I don't think I get that creative here. I think basically somebody that I'm just going to probably drop a tier 1 60-70% mid on, and then everything past that would probably just be shots of Tatum and Sabonis. But I think that Tatum-Sabonis seesaw, that's going to be my decision on both sides, man. I think that gets a little rough, and it's even more stressful knowing that Tatum is the late hammer, so you have to sweat that immediately if you did go Sabonis, and you're just like, okay, I need turnover. Even if you knew Paul George was out right now, Kawhi is like in the same boat as Tatum, almost exactly the same boat, right? The price is the same, by plus minus $100 on both sides. If you knew right now Paul George was out, are you jamming Kawhi on DraftKings? Are you jamming him over those 9K guys, over the Westbrooks, over the Kyries, guys like that? Do you feel like he's a safer floor ceiling range of outcome than Tatum? I don't think so, because I don't know. I guess it would only be fair if we pull up his production absence of Paul George. So let's take Paul George off the court. Let's put Kawhi on the court. Who do you feel better about making a priority, Kawhi or Tatum?
Man, if George is out.
Yeah, if George is out. It's almost the same thing. 36% usage rate this season. 880 minutes of sample size.
It's literally, I probably had the same amount of both.
It's like the same. That was from last season. Then we move it to this season. 218 minutes of sample size, 33% usage rate, 1.1 fantasy point per minute. This is like a mirror of both players benefiting the same exact way in the last season plus.
Lou Williams is back too. He got some minutes past couple games. He's kind of intriguing if George sits.
Chat, what are you doing here? This one's curious. I just hit something. There we go. Scrolling up a little bit. Desmond said Gunn might be the greatest analytical DFS analyst of all time. I appreciate that from the Department of Redundancy Department.
Stop lying to him.
I mean, no, I don't know. It's whatever. Still, no one's picking up the phone, though. CBS, you want to call me? Somebody want to pay me for a baseball podcast? I would love that. Tatum can hold his own against the fun guy. Just how has Jason Tatum done against Kawhi?
Yeah, bring him back.
Tatum, TKP by game log versus Kawhi Leonard the last 10 games. I spelled Leonard wrong. 56, 51, 20. So 39 or 48 minutes. I'm sure that's some ridiculous overtime game. Then 41 minutes. 50s again. 50s is what we're likely gonna need, right?
Yeah.
Clippers, the worst possible matchup for power forwards, but second best for small forwards. Depends on where he lines up. I definitely would anticipate a lot of Kawhi v. Tatum. I'll never play Tristan Thompson again. Khloe Kardashian did something to that man. Hey, man, Tristan's been efficient per min. He's just not ever going to be some offensive juggernaut. But at 3,800, I'll take some darts if I needed to. I don't think I need to today. Over 18.5 points, Kemba now without Brown. 18.5 real points. So my projections won't be adjusted till I'm off the air in terms of player props. But what did I have Kemba at? Control F, Kemba, real points. I had him at 16.7. So is he worth 4 buckets, Jalen? Probably. So I'd probably take that. I would imagine that line starts moving a little bit. If it was 18.5 earlier, it's probably not going to be 18.5 now, depending on how fast your book is. Tice got some 3-point upside. What's up, Wave Chappelle? Rule number 1, never bet against Tom Brady. He is at home. He literally is at home. Rule number 2, never bet against Nick Saban. Good luck, Raj. Smash that like Louis. If Pritchard is back tonight, is he in play? If he starts, I feel like it takes some of the salt out. But if we project him for over 20-plus minutes, I guess he's in the conversation. But I don't think I need – like, this slate doesn't give me 3 11K players that I want, right? Like, I don't have to battle with Luka, Giannis, or somebody like that. So I don't feel like I need to push the issue with some of these cheaper Celtics. I do think you can individually make cases for them if you had to. But they do have a guard rotation. I guess Pritchard would get a shot at 30 minutes, right? He's the first guy. I'm just worried that this is like his first game back. He's available with the knee injury. Hasn't played since January 22nd. So that's my worry. But I do think Jaylen Brown represents a lot of minutes to fill in. And I think Kemba gets a couple extra. But then it's just like Jeff Teague and Pritchard. And I think I've gone on record saying I don't really need Jeff Teague ever. Even if he played 40 minutes here. He's not a guaranteed to be a solid value. Pritchard would give me a little bit more hope. So maybe after I just kind of comb through minute projections a little bit, I'd feel a little bit better. I guess if the question is he in play, I guess the answer is yes. But it's not a lock, especially since we've got some decent value and underpriced guys at the guard spot, like from the Thunder, right? Kawhi is nice regardless of Paul George. Yes, I think, like I said, Kawhi and Tatum are almost the same spot right now. Without Paul George or without Jaylen Brown, they both probably give us a strong shot at 50, which is exactly what we need, but we'll take 50, right? We're not saying no to 50. I don't know. Kawhi's going full Terminator robot mode tonight. I'm with it. Robert Williams, sneaky play. Kemba too cheap. Jaylen Brown officially ruled out. Yes, sir. If PG's out, Batum in play. Under 5K, maybe. I couldn't ever see myself playing Batum at power forward today on FanDuel, though. I don't know. He's a small forward.
Tough click, but I get it.
Maybe. What's the ownership on Reggie Jackson? I can't imagine it's that.
I mean, does Marcus Morris Sr. become an option? I mean, he's a guy that's usually done relatively well. You give him minutes.
I don't think that would boost him much. I think Paul George would be replaced by like a Lou Williams or Luke Kennard, somebody like that. And then Batum, I think he's implying that Batum's usage would go up a little bit. Peripherals maybe increase a little bit without Paul George. Because Paul George, if you place him with like Lou or Luke Kennard, there's probably going to be boards and assists and maybe some stuff like that falls away from. And maybe that's a bigger implied boost for Reggie than we're giving. It'd be nice to have that news early.
Yeah.
Van Vliet or Sabonis. Ooh. I go
Sabonis. Anytime
I 1v1 a guard versus big, I usually go the big, and I think Sabonis would be my safe answer, but I love them both. Josh says Drum is good price on FanDuel. He's really underpriced on both sites, but I'm not super ecstatic about the matchup or the propensity of that game staying close. I said the same thing about Jeff Teague. I'm never playing him. Whenever Jeff Teague is chalk, I feel happy about the slate because I know I'm not doing it. Just like Ish Smith the other night, right? Jeff Teague is far removed from the Hawks version. Indeed. He did have a hot game to start the season, though. Marcus Morris Revenge, we did that. Not playing any Thunder. You're not playing any Thunder? Oh, okay. What a weird name, by the way. I wouldn't be mad if somebody handled that. Bump to Ibaka without Paul George. I can see that. Dwayne Bacon is live value. I'm with that, right? Play FVV and Sabonis. Yeah. Chat in 19 minutes. I'll be in the RunDFS.com NBA VIP voice chat. So reminder, if you want to keep the conversation going, go to RunDFS.com. Make yourself an account. Click VIP passes and jump in there. And then right here, voice chat will be there. You guys can listen in, grab a mic, jump in. Will there be coverage tomorrow or Sunday? Well, more than likely not coverage on Sunday. Super Bowl Sunday, it's all going to be early slate anyway. Tomorrow there's a noon game, a 4 p.m. game, and then the regular slate looks like a 6 p.m. and a bunch of 7+. So I guess I could still do some coverage tomorrow with a live stream. So yeah. So if tomorrow's main slate is at 6, I wonder if they would just leave the Bulls and Magic off, because am I just going to double down on Vucevic tomorrow? If they did that, that would give us a 7 p.m. main slate, which is an hour later than usual. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. That's 8 games on a main slate. I love that. So sites, FanDuel, DraftKings, if you're watching, go on, leave off the Bulls game tomorrow. We'll be all right, and we'll just start the main slate at 7. Come on. Do it. Because then we lock in our CSVs at 6, and then we're just late swap optimizing anyway, so whatever. Miles, all right, yeah, throw me your questions, comments, concerns, chat. We'll try and knock them out here. I got maybe 10 minutes to burn between chats. So how about Miles Turner is the question. Control F, Miles Turner. Up against the Pelicans. I don't love the individual matchup against Steven Adams, but I could make a case for him at his price. The Pelicans are allowing a below-league average amount of fantasy points to opposing centers. Miles Turner's not really a guy I'm leaning on heavily for rebounds or anything like that, but I do like his block potential, 3.9 blocks per game, so just about 4 blocks per game. And the Pelicans do allow some blocks here. We know Zion will try and score a lot in the paint, so it could be a block-centric game for Miles Turner at 6,300. I'm looking for 30-plus fantasy points. I haven't projected for 36 and 33 respectively, FanDuel and DraftKings, so I think he's got a case. Not warm and fuzzy. I'm way more on Sabonis, but I think Miles Turner is fine. That matchup is soft. The Pelicans are representing a bottom defensive efficiency. And another thing about Turner is he does chuck threes. Look at his game log this season: 3, 6, 4, 7 3-point attempts. And the New Orleans Pelicans do allow the second most points via the 3-ball in basketball. So if they're going to suffer at allowing blocks and allowing threes, it could be a recipe for success for Miles Turner at 6,300. 77, I don't think I'm going crazy there, but 63, I think there's some room there. How much Thunder is too much Thunder in one lineup? I'd probably want 2, no more than 3. With Baisley and then spinning the wheel, making a deal on Diallo and Maladon, and then if I really needed to stretch out, I could see a couple shots on a Horford. I don't know that I'm pushing the issue with like a Kenrich Williams or something like that, but most of my lineups will probably have 2 the most. But I could see 3 if you needed to against the Timberwolves for sure. Baisley and Diallo are a must. I think Diallo and Maladon, you can make a case that their more median range of outcome tonight is 30, which is about what you would expect for tournament value. But I definitely think there's way more upside baked in on Baisley's price, so I would have something like that. Lorenzo says Boucher will break the slate tonight. Potentially, but Boucher's upside, a lot of Boucher's big games have come with a high amount of blocks. I'm talking like 5, 6, 7 blocks, and I think a block-heavy guy going against Kevin Durant, Harden, and Kyrie, those blocks could translate to fouls real quick. So I'd be a little bit tentative, but I do also believe that the Nets can force this game to play small ball. You might get like a lot of Siakam at the 5, and it's just really not – we haven't seen them make a case for Boucher to play 20, 25 minutes, even in some lopsided games. So I would be trepidatious at best in getting to a lot of Boucher. Miles Turner's so soft. I hate playing him in. How are you 7 feet tall and you're scoring like 3 points? Yeah. Should we go cheap at point guard with Kemba being a tier 1 now? If you have Kemba as a tier 1, sure. On FanDuel, just looking at the point guard position, I definitely think there's still cases for the high guys. If you're going to build backwards to the field, it does sound like Lowry and Van Vliet will be pretty trendy, but the mid-tier is strong. I think Brogdon at 8K or less on both sides still can give me 40-plus fantasy points. Alonzo can be a point per minute. Kobe White has some potential at 5,800. We've seen point guards against the Orlando Magic do fine ever since Markelle Fultz got injured. Orlando's given up the fifth most fantasy points per game to opposing point guards. You just saw Fred VanVleet have a literal career game. So I would not put it past Kobe White to have a strong game. But Kemba Walker, 5.7K without Jaylen Brown. I would want to believe that his minutes could go a little bit more than what it had been, 30, 28, 27. But I think if we're opening up 35 minutes of Jaylen Brown, I do think maybe 5 of those minutes can be stretched to Kemba, and Kemba's been producing at a strong tick. And if you got Kawhi slowing down Tatum a little bit, I think Kemba's fine at 5'7". I do think he'll be trendy as probably the highest owned point guard on FanDuel, just looking at it. And then I expect Theo Maledon to still be pretty trendy at 4,800. Cole Anthony against the Chicago Bulls still looks pretty strong. So I guess the generic lineup tonight. What am I hearing? God, is that you? What the?
Yeah, I'm playing.
Yeah, you're making noise. Cole Anthony profile as well. So I guess the generic lineup will be a value point guard, and then stacking a Jason Tatum and maybe a Sabonis or a Kawhi. So I can see a lot of people punting point guard tonight. Jeff Green is the backup center against Boucher. Yes, but if Jeff Green hits the court, the Nets could just that's pressuring the Raptors to play small ball, and then literally Siakam might play center in that scenario. I think the Nets will dictate that if they are playing with the lead, and then you'll see maybe a lineup that has Norman Powell, Terrence Davis, Van Vliet, Lowry, or something like that. They might get weird with it. Net center, backup center to the G League, Reggie Perry. Yeah, I like Jeff. I like the thought of Jeff Green. Are you stacking any games? I like a Pacers Pelicans stack. I think you could. I probably 2v2 that game. I think with the Pacers, I'm highest on Sabonis, then Brogdon, and then Turner's way in the back, but he's there. Just stacked under. It makes sense. Again, Maledon had 7 stocks, and I think it's hard to bank on 7 stocks game to game. But if there is a team that can let you curtain call, it might be the Timberwolves. There's always that one player supposed to ball out who ends up ruining your lineups. Who will it be tonight? It might be Jason Tatum. Right. This matchup's even softer than the Rockets win. Baisley. I hope it's not Baisley. I hope it's not. Anyway, chat. that's going to do it for me. I will be back tomorrow. Don't quote me on what time I'll be live because I don't know if the sites are going to have that first game or not, that 6 p.m. game. If they don't, then it'll probably be like a 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. stream. If they do, I'll probably have to move up an hour. We'll see. So I will be back tomorrow. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're push notified whenever we do go live. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the rundfs.com VIP Discord. Remember, we have reduced prices right now, $80 for the month pass. It's one of our better month prices of the year. So go check that out. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Hit that thumbs up on your way out. Otherwise, twitter.com/GundeckerSports. Hope you crush it tonight. Shoot me them screenshots. Good luck. God bless. And go win some money.